Yo, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best enchants to use for each rod in Fish. So there's a ton of fishing rods in Fish. You might be wondering, should I enchant it? If I should enchant it, what enchant should I use? So this is pretty much, guys, going to be the best enchants to use for all of the rods in Fish. So let's go over, guys, all of the rods that you shouldn't enchant. So there's a ton of rods that you shouldn't enchant in Fish. I'm going to be going over those right now. So the flimsy rod, training rod, plastic rod, carbon rod, fast rod, lucky rod, lung rod, magma rod, fungal rod, fortune rod, Midas rod, as well as the haunted rod, you should just completely ignore. Do not even enchant. Matter of fact, if you want to enchant it, go ahead and do it, because you're just going to waste your enchant relic. So completely ignore these rods. If you got a rod and you wanted to enchant them, don't do it until you get a good rod. Trust me, guys, it's honestly not worth it. So if you got the steady rod, you might as well just enchant it. If you are going to enchant it, I highly recommend you getting hasty. If you can't get hasty, get swift. If you can't get swift, divine. So I'm going to basically rate these rods, well, the enchant for the rods. The top is going to be the must-have enchant, and pretty much from there, if you can't get that enchant, then you just get the ones underneath it, pretty much, guys. So for steady rod, hasty. If you can't get hasty, get swift. If you can't get swift, get divine. That is going to be for the steady rod. We are now going to move on to the rapid rod. If you want to basically enchant the rapid rod, I highly recommend you getting hasty. If you can't get hasty, get swift. If you can't get swift, get insight. The reason why, guys, rapid rod is really good on getting fish really quickly. So if you got hasty or swift, you're going to be increasing. It's basically hacks, guys. You're going to be fishing a lot more faster. Keep in mind, the rapid rod is already really fast on getting fish. And insight, guys, basically means you're just going to be getting XP really quickly if you got the insight enchant on the rapid rod. However, we're now going to move on to the magnet rod. The magnet rod, you want to enchant it, you might as well just have hasty or swift. Other than that, there's no point in enchanting the magnet rod. We are now going to move on to the nocturnal rod. So the nocturnal rod, you might as well just enchant it if you really want to. If you are going to enchant it, get these 3 enchants on them: resilient, controlled, or steady. Those are the must-have enchants that you should have for the nocturnal rod. We are now going to move on to the next rod. So the next rod, what we've got, guys, is going to be the mythical rod. The mythical rod, obviously 100% enchant it. If you are going to enchant it, you're looking at resilient, controlled, or steady. The reason why, guys, resilient and controlled, if you don't know already, because the mythical rod is that good, you're obviously going to be getting some really rare fish. And believe it or not, guys, it's really hard to control a heavy fish that is over like 1000 kg. So yeah, it's pretty much impossible to get good fish without resilient. So resilient is 100% a enchant that you do need to get in Fish. So we're now going to move on to the king's rod. For king's rod, you want to have hasty, divine, or swift for the king's rod. We now move on to the destiny rod. So the destiny rod, you must enchant it. If you are enchanting the destiny rod, you want to go ahead and have resilient, controlled, or steady. Resilient, like I said, guys, because the destiny rod is so overpowered and you're just going to be getting really rare fish over time. You do need resilient and controlled, or even steady, just like the mythical rod. However, we're now moving on to the trident rod. The best enchant, guys. Everybody wants to know what the best enchant is for the trident rod. The best enchant for the trident rod is either going to be hasty, divine, or resilient. I highly recommend you having hasty though, and resilient if you really want to. But other than that, guys, that's what you want to have for the trident rod. You want to have hasty, divine, or resilient. However, we're now going to move on to the reinforced rod. If you are going to enchant the reinforced rod, you want to have resilient, controlled, or steady. Highly recommend you having resilient for. Now, guys, we're going to move on to more of the newer rods, what we've got. So we got the Aurora Rod. If you want to get the Aurora Rod enchanted, you want to have Resilient, Hasty, or Divine. So yeah, 100% Resilient, Hasty, or Divine. You can either choose which one's better. Highly recommend you Resilient for. We then move on to the No Life Rod. No Life Rod, you want 100% have Divine, Resilient, and Controlled. If you want to have Divine, you're going to be getting more luck. Resilient, you're going to get more fish a lot more easier. So yeah, that is the No Life Rod. We're now going to move on to the Sunken Rod. So the Sunken Rod, I highly recommend you having Hasty, 100% Hasty. If you can't get Hasty, get Swift. If you can't get any of those, then you might as well just not enchant it. Hasty or Swift, 100% guys. Or maybe even Resilient. However guys, there's going to be all of the best enchants for every single rod inside the fish. We now move on to the 2 new rods and the best enchants for the first rod. I'm going to start by showing you guys the best enchant for the depth rod. So the best rod for the depth rod is either going to be Hasty or Absol, depending on your preference. So Hasty will really help you out a lot. It will increase your lair speed by 55%, which makes your fishing rod a lot more overpowered. You'll be able to get fish faster. Not only that, the depth rod already has a lot of luck, so you don't really need extra luck. However, Hasty or Absol will be making you more money. Hasty will help you get fish faster. If I'm going to be honest with you, I highly recommend you getting Hasty. If you don't get Hasty, just use Absol. They're kind of the same, if I'm going to be honest with you. At the end of the day, it's down to personal preference, but everybody is using Hasty and Absol for their enchants on the depth rod. So make sure you use at least one of those, nothing else. However, we now move on to the Scurvy. So the best enchant for Scurvy is Absol or Quality. Quality enchant is good for any rod pretty much. The Scurvy rod isn't really that good. You shouldn't really be enchanting it. However, if you do want to enchant it, Quality or Absol will just be making you for extra money, and it's one of the new enchants that we've got. Hopefully this video helped you out guys, and peace out.